Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. I am Mirabivan, a data engineer, and today I will show you a POC that I've developed today in Microsoft Fabric. Let's share my screen. Here's actually a simple diagram what I have built in Fabric. It's kind of a data pipeline where I have a PostgreSQL server and let's say 3 tables in a database, and these tables will be continuously update daily, and I need to analyze those data, and after analyzing those data I need to visualize them, and also there could be some form where I could show those data in any web application or mobile application through APIs. Now, how did I develop the system actually? Here I have a virtual machine I've created in my DigitalOcean and created a PostgreSQL server there. And here is my server, and here's my database, and these 3 tables is a dummy data actually. And I'm putting this data in Microsoft Fabric, which is a unified architecture for all data engineering solution, data science solution, and MLOps solution. Here I'm putting those 3 tables in my Fabric platform where I have put in those PostgreSQL data using my Dataflow Gen2, then putting those in my Fabric Lakehouse. All of these are based on the Fabric onelake architecture in Delta Parquet format, and those data are put in the warehouse using Data Factory pipeline. This warehouse is kind of used like Azure Synapse or like let's say uh, Databricks, let's say SQL Server or any other um, database platform, or the like let's say Snowflakes. No, everything I could use for analytical task. Then creating views for visualization, or let's say web app, let's say stored procedure for web app. All right, let me show you the project from the core. Here's my workspace. Workspace is kind of a lab where every tools are available. The Fabric workspace is a lab where we could use every tools for data engineering, for machine learning, or data analysis. Yeah. Here, first, you can see the PG2 Fabric, a Dataflow Gen2. It's kind of a pipeline where I have put those data from my PostgreSQL to my Fabric. I connected my PostgreSQL server to this Fabric. Then these, let's get into there. This is my data that are coming from my PostgreSQL, and saving it and running it. I'm just putting my data from my PostgreSQL to my Fabric Lakehouse. Here's my Fabric Lakehouse that I named Raw Lakehouse. Here the data is coming from my Postgres to this. This is coming by this pipeline, and this pipeline you can see in the settings, the schedule is scheduled. Every time these tables are getting new data, my pipeline is fetching those data. Every 3 minutes is fetching those data in my raw lakehouse from my PostgreSQL. This lakehouse is a brilliant thing where I could dump every kind of data like CSV, text, whatever you want, and those data could be queried inside this format. This is not actual SQL table or like database table. This is kind of raw format, a lakehouse table. Here I could just dump my CSV files or text file also, and I could also query those. Here in this portion, you could see Lakehouse, and you could just go to SQL Analytical Point, and you could just, let's say, run query from those Lakehouse tables in the Fabric Lakehouse. These are the tables, they are fetching the data. All right. Now, you could also create notebooks and use Spark distribution clusters here also. Let's say open notebooks, And you could use new notebooks and use Spark SQL, Python, anything to query or use data from here. All right, now, but there are some limitations in my lakehouse, in my raw lakehouse, that I can create stored procedure here. I can create temporary table if I want some transformation my data, transforming my data to new tables for more suitable data format. For that, I am just putting these raw lakehouse tables to my Fabric warehouse. So here is my Fabric warehouse. My Fabric warehouse. Getting into my Fabric warehouse, it's almost similar to the SQL Server Management Studio, like Azure SQL Server, or let's say Postgresql database, MySQL database. Here we could just write anything query, everything query, create temporary table, put those data in the temporary table, let's say transform data and put data anywhere, and put some analytical task or whatever I want. Creating views, stored procedure. All right. Now, the question is, how did I put those data from my raw lakehouse to my SQL server? Or let's say Azure, Fabric uh, warehouse. Let me show you. Here is another pipeline in lakehouse to warehouse. From this raw lakehouse, I'm putting those raw data in here. This is like, let's say, Azure Data Factory, where I'm just hovering my tables and putting those data to my warehouse. And we remember that our Postgres table is continuously updating, getting data, and we were getting those data in every 3 minutes in my raw lakehouse. And like that, after getting those data in raw lakehouse, I need in my warehouse too. So to get those data from a lakehouse to my warehouse, I'm using this pipeline in a schedule format too. I'm putting a schedule here too. And I'm just doing my task in my warehouse. Here in this warehouse, I'm putting those views and whatever I want. And let's say I've created these views. And let's say I've created these views, which is just giving me the total revenue, total quantity. And let's say run it. All right, here I'm getting this data, and let's say visualize this data and continue. All right, here is my SQL query. Let's say product name and total quantity, and I want to show this here. Now you can see that I have created a visualization. Also, let's say I just want the product name and the total revenue in this format too. Let's say put this in here. Let me small it more, and this is also the data. Here I'm getting, okay, let's say we said report. Let's say analytical BI report. Okay, save. And let's say open this report here. It's a Power BI report, and you can see these here. You can see this is get generated a report very easily. You can do everything using Fabric from wherever the data source is, everything. Here's my report, which is showing the product name. Let's say iPhone 14 is sold for 20 times. Let's say iPhone 13 is for, let's say, 13 or 12. And here's a iPhone 14 is sold for 20 times for, let's say, 15K dollar. That's how it's working actually. So, assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Thank you.